Well, hi everybody. Glad to see you came back to check out what's going on at the farm. Here's a little clip of leaving Anchorage, taking off from the Anchorage airport. It was just such a beautiful sunset, I figure I'd get some video for you guys. When I leave work and fly back home, I always like to get a window seat so I can look out at the wonderful state we live in. As the seasons change, there's always something different to look at. It's roughly a 300-mile flight from Anchorage to Fairbanks and takes somewhere between 45 and 55 minutes to make the flight. To make the drive is somewhere between 5 and 6 hours, so the jet is by far quicker. Okay, Saturday, October 21st, 7:30 a.m. Still very much night. Sun won't be up for an hour, hour and a half, but by this time of year it takes a little while to get things going anyways. So by the time we warm up equipment out at the farm, get things lined out, it takes a few hours that we're ready to go when the sun does come up to make the most use of the daylight. So we're gonna swing by and get some go-go juice in the truck, and I'll head out to the farm, get things rolling. See you guys out there. Nice and quiet on a Saturday morning. Enana's pretty lucky as far as towns go. You know, we have city sewer and city water, main thoroughfare, street lights, sidewalks, post office, library, store, gas station, school, other small businesses, fuel company. Just a lot going on here, which is really pleasant. There's a lot of other really nice communities in Alaska, but they don't have all those services, which you can get stuff done. Definitely not impossible to be there. A lot of people live there and love it. But it's nice to have sort of all the conveniences of a small little town and still be kind of out of the way. Very, very lucky. Well, it's starting to lighten up a little bit. It's a little after 8 o'clock, about 8:10. Equipment has started, dozers started. The 6135Es started. Dozer is a little crabby. Of course, it doesn't have glow plugs or anything, and it's 23, 22 degrees this morning. But it fired up. The mulcher is inside the tent. Heat is going on it. So it'll be warmed up a bit by the time Dave gets here. Lots of noise, lots of things running. Okay, yep. We were talking about the sun is starting to come up. It's a little overcast today, which makes it a little warmer, but it'll cut down the light a little bit. This is definitely the reality of farming in the interior of Alaska in the fall and winter. You get used to those really, really long days in the summer. We can work almost 24 hours a day, or as long as you can stay awake, to this time of year when we start trimming down and trimming down. So really it'll be working light from 8:30, basically 9 o'clock, and by 6 o'clock it's over. So that's still, 9 hours of daylight, 10 hours. That's not too bad, but another 3 or 4 weeks and we'll be cut down to 7 hours and 6 hours. And that's about it. We get down to maybe 5 hours at the very, very peak of winter. So, but by then it's cold and a lot of snow, and you're not going to be out doing a lot out here anyways. But good lights are important, and depending on the snow, in theory, a person can be clearing land, at least getting stumps, trees, brush off virtually year-round, except when it's really, really muddy in the spring maybe. And sometimes in the winter is a good time to do that. You have to fight the cold and problems that come along with that and equipment. But in some cases, the cold weather really helps things break off and crunch up. So I know people are wondering where we'll get a building. That'll be next year, hopefully, and maybe the year after that. The equipment's new enough, it doesn't require a whole lot of maintenance. The combine we can work on in the summer when it's nice and warm. And finding the right spot for a building, and then of course the challenges of getting buildings and whatnot. So whether we go with a fabric building or a metal building, we'll just see what's available and pricing. That all is important. Well, here comes Dave. He made a town trip for us and got some goodies. Had an outfit that was disposing of a large quantity of DEF, which is nitrogen, liquid nitrogen. We're gonna experiment with that next summer. And I believe he went by the John Deere dealer. So. Yeah, he's loaded. For sure. So, it's time to put some fuel in the dozer. Normal routine. Put the hose in, turn the pump on, stand around, look at the scenery, wait for it to click off. The tank's not very big, so it doesn't take very long. But in this case, it didn't click off. After a little bit of inspection, I noticed that it wasn't pumping fuel at all. Well, of course, the first thing you do, when it's not pumping or not working, you wiggle the switch, tap on it with a hammer, try it again. Tap on it with a hammer again. Not quite sure what I thought the hammer would do, but I figured something was stuck. Wiggle the switch a little more. Listen. Determine the hammer is not the fix. Okay, so now it's time to actually get the tools out and take the pump apart. These fuel pumps are relatively simple. 3 little bolts, hold it on, pull the cover off. And it's pretty much all brass inside, so you don't have any sparks. Took it apart, inspected it. It all looked normal. Made sure the gasket was good, and then put a little oil on it and reassembled it. The only thing I can think that happened was we did run the tank completely dry, and for some reason the pump lost its prime. But it seemed to sound a little different after that, so let's try it again. Yep, turn it on, open up the valve. Yep, it's flowing. Now we can get some diesel in the dozer. This tank already had a 2-inch pipe coming up from the bottom, and the pump, I believe, is a 1-inch or 1.5 inch, so we had to put an adapter on. And I think when the tank is either empty or almost empty, that 2-inch pipe is just a little too much for it to get a draft off of. But nevertheless, got it working, filled the dozer, ready to go to work. Okay, here I'm just consolidating a couple piles. There's an older burn pile that just didn't quite burn completely. So I'm scooting those logs over to push them into the pile that is burning. It definitely seemed like speeding up this video was the right thing to do because the dozer is kind of slow. Okay, back up, grab the camera. Well, at this time, pretty much was going around collecting logs, pushing them in the pile, and then consolidating piles as well. And the old dozer is a pretty good fit, especially for shoving a pile in to make sure it's tight and it burns. The mulcher and the tractor can definitely do it, but they sure do have a lot of plastic on them, when the dozer is virtually entirely all steel. But that doesn't make it indestructible, just got to be a little careful. But by keeping the piles tight, they'll burn up more completely, and that is definitely what we're looking for. Well, this is the work they've got done. Ready for bridges. And yes, we're running about 3 weeks behind on videos, but there's going to come a point here in a few weeks that holidays and middle of winter is going to take over and we'll get caught back up. It was great to see this bridge work progressing, and you can envision what it's going to be like when they get done. All this prep work is going to pay off for sure. That's where the bridges are going to go. You guys can't see. Notice that? And they're doing such a good job. They actually picked up and removed all of the trees and wood matter, took it to one central location and burned that. So it made a nice clean job. Okay, it's about what, 9 o'clock. Teenager come out to check on the fires that are burning. There's not really any chance of them going anywhere, but doesn't hurt to put eyes on them. And then need to make sure the generator has plenty of gas and the heater has plenty of fuel for the heater that's thawing out the dozer. Okay, here's one of those large piles. I know, pretty hard to tell in the dark. You can see a little bit of sunrise right there. Got things rolling. Dave's up and mulching already. You can see him right there. And then we still have one fire smoldering. Got some more piles to burn here. I got some more work pushing things together. That's this morning's project. And then we're pretty much gonna be done on this end of the farm. He's got a little bit up there to clear out, acre and a half. And then we are gonna be complete on this end. And then we will be moving on over to that side. So we're getting close. There's basically 3 corners left, two corners left. So I don't know if we'll get it done this year. We sure will try. But let me flip this around. It is definitely, if it'll trying to be a pretty sunny day. We'll see if that's coming or going. Just getting light enough to start working. So I'm gonna go get to it. And Dave's up on the hill. The light's kind of hard. Well, let the dozer get going. Try to get you guys some footage. It's definitely hard to videotape and run the dozer at the same time. I guess a magnetic camera mount probably is in order. Probably get a lot of questions. Isn't the dozer cold? It's definitely not warm, that's for sure. You do get a fair bit of heat coming off the engine that blows up on you, which is decent. It was only 20 degrees this morning. Probably get up in the mid-20s today. So it's not ideal. Put on some warm clothes. I don't have snow pants on. I didn't really need them yesterday. If it was getting below 10, probably want some snow pants on. But you know, dozer's greasy. I'm on and off it a lot, moving around. Blue jeans seem to be best at the moment, at least for me. So anyways, yeah, it's not too bad. And we're getting the work done. And at the end of the day, every tree that's picked up and burned and every piece of brush that's mulched, come May or June, will be a wonderful sight to have that out of our way. So doing what we can before winter really gets here. Okay. Okay, fires are going. I don't know what Dave's got going on. He's coming to see me for some reason. Here's an example where literally was just driving around consolidating these burning piles. Push them together a little to get them to burn up a little more. They're pretty much just oversized campfires, just like at a campfire where you take the logs that didn't quite burn on the outside and throw them in the middle. Do the same thing with the dozer. And like I've said many times before, it's just on amazement as to how much ground has gotten cleared this year. And even now, how much we've done in the last couple weeks just in this one spot. But we are very much aware that the work is just beginning. And given the different types of terrain on this farm with the hills and whatnot, there's so many options for different crops we can grow. Hope you guys are as excited as we are as to what the future will bring. It's going to take these piles a little while to burn. Between being mostly bigger logs, smaller piles, and a fair bit of snow mixed in. It's okay though, they're burning. We're in no hurry. So, been a pretty good weekend. Me and Dave got a fair bit cleared over the last couple days, so that's good. They're going to be doing bridge work all this week. The road's pretty much going to be closed. They'll reopen it again at the end of the day. They're going to spend, the 12-hour day getting the bridges moved, picked up, reset, and then approaches put back in. So there will be a period of time that you will not be able to cross or head to the property. So that's okay. It's a good time of year for it. So we're going to take a break for this week and re-go again on Saturday. And we'll see how the weather does. Looks like they got this one, the approach is kind of set up. Looking pretty good. As you can see, they filled in. So and what they'll do is they'll put something for the bridge to set on and then just set it right in there. Then they'll come back in and refill all this with gravel, and that's where the new, where the old bridge will go. And that gets them out of the way. That way they can work on the new bridge. I believe this fall they're going to be working on putting in the armor, big rocks to keep things from getting washed away, and getting those abutments put in. And then in the spring, they'll start driving pilings and working on the bridge work itself. These bridges will have concrete decking, so they're going to want warm weather for that. They could tarp it off and heat it and pour the concrete in the winter, but of course that does cost way more money. It takes more time, and the product will be a better product if they do it in the summer. So there'll be bridges to get across. That's all we need for right now, and we know nice roads coming. These guys are working on loading up. To see the sun through the clouds, so even though it's snowing, it's really not much of a storm. Just a little bit of snow. Okay, give you guys a river update. You see patties of ice are starting to form. I don't know if you can hear that. You can hear it grinding against itself. If you get a chance, hit that subscribe button. It sure does help. And we definitely appreciate you stopping by and seeing what we've been up to out on the farm. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.